Inspector, I'm pleased to hear that. Bertie Holcomb is a valuable asset to the Rizzo's Rangers property. When Helen was murdered, Bertie was nowhere to be found. The timing of his disappearance is unfortunate. Try not to feel too bad for him. Bertie is a brilliant athlete. The universe has balanced his talent by making him a slackwit. I don't understand what it was that Helen saw in Bertie. Whatever it was, she seemed to trust him implicitly. He was always on his best behavior around her. Or he tried. I'm not a heartless man, Inspector. I know that losing Helen must have shaken Bertie to his core. Be plain with me, Inspector. Do you believe Black Hole Bertie killed Helen? Understood. I appreciate your candor. I'd like you to continue your investigation. Notify me as soon as you're ready to make a formal act. I appreciate that. I'd rather keep Bertie within the public eye than let him languish in a bar at the docks. If you're through investigating Bertie, I recommend looking into Cedric Kincannon. He's been entirely too comfortable since we began this investigation. I don't trust Cedric when he's comfortable.
performance evaluation is sterling.
It's all in the wrist.
Centrifuge mode activated.
Woo! We all in one piece? I don't think we ever respected a gate in this colony.
Excuse me, Gunther. I need to ask you something.
Who in the hell is Gunter? I told you to call me Hunter. Come on.
Oh, right. Hunter, have you seen a mechanical wandering through here? Might have been wearing my hat.
I can't say I have. I can sell you a new hat if you want. Or some fine, legally obtained hunting supplies. You could go get that mechanical.
She's not a thief. She's lost. I just want her back. Oh, hey there, stranger. don't mean to interrupt your business, but have you seen a stray mechanical wandering about? Seems I'm running my mouth too much. My mechanical Betty up and wandered away a couple days back. I've been trying to track her, but the beasts make it hard. Personally, I prefer my organs inside my body. The shopkeep says I should buy one of his rifles and go looking myself, but like my machine, I'm not combat inclined.
SAM units excel at finding dirt in hidden places.
I know it's a pain, but I think I need some outside help. Job or no job, I'm not leaving Betty out in the wastes. Hey, thanks so much. It would have been mighty lonely without her. Being unemployed, I mean. Be lonely being unemployed. If you find Betty, try sneaking up and hacking her. If you can't do that, finding a way to stop her current routines should send her back home.
Welcome to Hunter Legal's Legal Hunter Supplies. I am Hunter Legal. How might I help you today? Unusual. This whole land complex is a failed wildlife exhibition turned hunting reserve. You can't go 10 feet without stepping in unusual. But I reckon you're asking about people unusual. I'd go have a chat with the prophet of profitability. Maybe she can intuit you in the right direction or something. But she is mighty far in the depths of the reserve. Perhaps you should purchase one of my fine armaments for the journey. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. It is a perfectly normal name for a shop dispensing hunter supplies. No, these are supplies for hunters. Hunter supplies. It works either way. It works either way. Boy, damn it. I wish I'd thought to get that sign switched out when I changed my name. Where better to sell hunter supplies than in the depths of the wilds? Surrounded by creatures that are just waiting to devour you. I've got an excuse, but the Prophet and her retreat don't. And they're even farther out. Prophet said I should gift her some rifles to improve my aura or something. I told her what she could do with her aura. Haven't spoken to her since. But you look like you're... Hunter supplies. Get your hunter supplies.
You gotta show me how you did that.
Sorry, but we're a little busy right now.
Lawrence, do you know who you're talking to? We always have time for the inspector.
The inspector? That's you? I am so sorry. We didn't know what we were doing. Oh, Law, it's all over. I told you someone would catch on sooner or later, Belle.
Lawrence, let me do the talking here. Inspector, pay him no mind. I'm sure you've bigger saltuna to can than us.
Normally, yes, but we take guests out on live-action wilderness experiences for additional pay. You know, shoot a raft here, walk there. We're just between tours right now. Buying? We're not selling anything. Especially since we're between...
Don't pay him any mind, Inspector. His upper story's a little gap-toothed, if you know what I mean. But seeing as you insist on sticking your... That is, since you're so curious, we, misplaced some people on our last tour. Misplaced them in the maws of some local predators. Now we're stuck here wondering how to get... Might have been raptidons. I find it hard to tell them apart, especially when my glasses get fogged up.
So when you say lost, you mean left behind, so you could make a clean getaway.
You make it sound like we did this on purpose. If we had, we'd have been smart enough to get their room keys back first. Hey, we all got our priorities. Not worrying about those keys ain't gonna bring their owners back from the dead. Anyway, the sooner we get those keys back, the sooner we can make it look like the ex-guests checked out early.
Wouldn't you? I mean, the dangers were all listed in fine print on the waivers they signed. Least they can do is not destroy our reputation when they get themselves killed. We knew sooner or later this was gonna happen.
You kidding? You're welcome to.
Our bosses would want this situation resolved, just like us. We're the real victims here. The dead can't suffer anymore, but we can, and we will if we have to pay for all these lost keys. Damn it, what are we gonna do now? I'm too pretty to go to prison.
For law's sake, nobody's going to prison.
I'd rather go to prison. Inspector, if you changed your mind, Inspector? Did I just hear that right?
We're not out of the woods yet. Let's just see what happens before we celebrate. We last saw the guests deeper in the wilderness, Inspector. That'd be a good place to look.
Invasive contaminants detected. And maintenance job fulfilled. To be specialist.
My time to shine!
Can't believe we got a deal with marauders on Eridanos.
Though effective as a pest control method, cyanide is not intended for human ingestion.
The prophet says to purge the mind of truth, that her truth.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
You're ruining everyone's humors.
Gotta keep going. I can feel my inner negativity seeping out of me. Breathe deep the fumes of...
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Analysis. Warning. Ingesting, smoking, or inserting non-corporation sanctioned substances into your Analyzing. Complete. Substance appears to be a mix of substances include woolly cow. Prior analysis suggests these herbs reach peak effectiveness when users burn them and inhale the resulting smoke. Whether or not this increased effectiveness is good for an afflicted individual has yet to be determined. Hypothesizing potential side effects from herb consumption. Most likely outcome, decapitation. Slight possibility of calculation error.
Fruitful and productive welcome, brother. I had a feeling you would visit me. I offer a wide variety of productivity seminars. I hope you'll consider taking one. But I should remember my manners. To what do I owe the pleasure of the Special Inspector's arrival? Certainly, certainly. But first, I'd love to interest you in one of my productivity seminars. We'll free you of those potential hampering humors in a heartbeat. Sprat oil? That is. We understand your decision and respect it. But those humors will cling to you. You'll find success with my seminars, or a quarter of your money back. Regardless, I do understand. Is there anything else I can help you with? I'm pleased that you noticed. Excellent eye, brother. The compound they're treated with is my own invention, designed to unlock an individual's true None of my clients have ever complained, so I'm sure they're perfectly safe. Is there anything else? Oh? I'm surprised. I wouldn't think the two of us would have much to discuss about her. We may have had some terse interactions before her death, which I most certainly regret. But beyond those, well, never mind. What would you care to know? I wouldn't necessarily say that. The media tends to exaggerate. I will admit that her remarks about my seminars were rather unfortunate. However, I certainly wouldn't sharpen any sabers over it, if that's what you mean to imply. I only do that when my clients skimp on their bills. I did not. She had no interest in my seminars, and I had no interest in attempting to convert a stubborn actress. Why would I have had any cause to engage with her further? Well, I suppose that does complicate things. Whatever the case, I didn't care to mention Helen's change in decision because she never showed up. I don't see how it matters. Yes, that's correct. She made it clear that my seminars were of no interest to her. Well, I suppose that does complicate things. Whatever the case, I didn't care to mention Helen's change in decision because she never yeah. Why? I've been at the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve for quite some time now, as my disciples can attest. In fact, I haven't visited the Colonials since I arrived several weeks ago. I hope you now realize that I had nothing to do with Helen's demise.
Hello! Welcome to the Prophet of Profitability's Private Prosperity Retreat. Stay positive, and soon all your humors will be balanced. Least, that's what I keep telling myself. Anyway, If you felt imbalanced and unproductive, linger in your malaise no longer. We have all the amenities and practices for calming the ill humors strangling your potential. Sit for hours in our sweat house and sweat them out, or stand amidst burning coals and feel your productive inhibitions burn away. And remember, think positive. Positivity equals productivity equals profitability. Of course, I've been studying under her for years. I know each of her techniques more or less by heart, and even have some variations of my own, such as the quintuple daily stomach purges. She's promised me that I'd be allowed to open my own branch of the retreat someday soon. Of course, I've been waiting on someday soon for coming up on 4 years now. Oh, terribly sorry if I gave you that impression. I had a cramp. It's better now. I mean, it might be nice if I had a little inclination of whether the Prophet appreciated all the cooking and cleaning and hours of meditation I do on a daily basis. But whatever she thinks isn't for me to question. I'll do my best to be more chipper. Oh my. Yes, this is important enough for me to delay my bi-hourly self-flagellation. Ask away. Yes, the circumstances there are quite unfortunate. For a time, the Prophet was completely despondent. Even the hot coal walks weren't buoying her spirits as they usually do. However, we recently had a high-profile visitor whose presence seemed to alleviate whatever the Prophet's fears were. I'm actually not entirely certain. It was a surreptitious visit that stood out because it was surreptitious. Whoever it was must have paid the Prophet quite a lot to keep things quiet. At least that's the only reason I can think of for intentionally keeping things so hush-hush. Well, by and large, no. But something rather odd did happen regarding the Prophet recently. A few hours after our high-profile visitor arrived a couple of days ago, the Prophet asked me to take over sessions for the remainder of the day. At first, I was excited. Thought it was my chance to show her what I could do in charge. But then I saw that she was deeply worried about something. No one saw her until the next day. I was here at the retreat in the company of the other disciples and clients. I rarely have more than a few minutes of alone time. Which is fine, of course. I do what I do in the service of the Prophet, who will, I'm sure, reward me for my sacrifice. Eventually. Certainly. Actually, before you go, I want to report something suspicious. I noticed the Prophet dragging something, a bundle, away from the retreat after that high-profile guest arrived. Normally, I'm the one who does her laundry, so it was strange. Especially because whatever she was dragging seemed oddly human-shaped. I think so. Had the right size and shape. I could have, but I generally don't have the time or energy to leave the reserve to contact anyone. Plus, there's always the possibility that I'm mistaken. The Prophet hasn't been herself lately, but if I misinterpreted the situation and reported her improperly, I'd ruin my chances for opening my own wing of the retreat.
By concentrating on profit, I can invite wealth into my life.
Security stands.
My leg!
Sterling is this unit's middle name.
Watch this! I was just getting started. Best there ever was. Here they come.
Neutralized. Sanitization incoming.
Hostile kick!
Pick up all skilled crew members. Toxin neutralized. This area has been sanitized.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Identifying human footprints leading out into the wilderness. It is unusual for productivity disciples to wander more than a few feet from the camp. Scanning. Checking database of shoe sizes and height-weight ratios. Judging by footprint depressions and shoe size. These prints were either made by the Prophet of Profitability or Adjutant Sophia Akande. Error. Recalibrating. These footprints were made by the Prophet of Profitability. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Detected additional tracks belonging to the Prophet of Profitability. Timeline discrepancy detected additional tracks belonging to the Prophet of Profitability. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Detected additional tracks belonging to the Prophet of Profitability. Judging by the shape of this indentation in the dirt, a person of medium height and build laid here for a number of hours. Scanning for other details. Only additional signs of disturbance are a few marks in the dirt. No sign of struggle or evidence of wildlife consumption of body. Suspected likelihood of user correctness, 86%.
Welcome back, brother. I'm delighted to extend my desire to aid you, brother. How might I assist? Oh, really? What did you find there? What did I dump? Clever work, Inspector. It seems even I can't slide my way out of the trap you've so intricately weaved. I admit it. I killed Helen. By mistake. Helen changed her mind and wanted to attend one of my sessions. I, knowing the importance of the seminar, desired to truly galvanize her, though not to stop her heart. So when it came time, I chose to double Helen's dosage of productivity-enhancing herbs. I left her to meditate, and when I returned, she was dead. After that, I entered a less than coherent state. One of my disciples, it seems, witnessed me as I dragged Helen's body out into the wilderness. I'm no medical professional, but that certainly seemed the case. Usually my customers at least writhe or mumble after a session. My productivity-enhancing herbs typically do induce sluggishness, but I suppose they must have been enough to do her in, if her constitution was truly that weak. What? Is this some kind of joke? You're an inspector. It's your job to arrest me, isn't it? No. Someone must have moved it after I killed her. One of my business rivals, waiting for me to fall into a false sense of security so they can strike. I don't believe you. I think this is all a trick. You're trying to catch me in a lie. Get me to reveal my productivity secrets. No. You can't trick me. I finally discovered what's happening. You've been paid off. Someone else learned that I killed Helen, and is going to use that information to blackmail me. You think I'm going to let this injustice happen? Ha! Tell the constable that I killed Helen. It's 1,000 times less miserable than whatever my enemies have planned. You monster! What am I supposed to do now? They'll be here soon. And once they arrive, I'll be powerless. Powerless! I just want to go to prison! Is that so wrong?
You would not believe how many times that ladder's come in handy. Why ladders do not come standard in all offices is completely nonsensical. Now then, here for my alibi, I assume. Another murder? Drunk Raptidons? Black Hole Birdie practicing his hacking in the middle of the street? Stop me if it's one of those, or I'll just keep guessing. Sounds as though you've already sorted it out yourself. In short, Slug has not sent anyone to rough you up, Inspector. That would be acting against our own self-interest. Now ask yourself this. Why would anyone give thugs Slug gear and send them after you? Right again, Inspector. But I can't fathom who would benefit from tarnishing my reputation like that. Can you? Oh, that's good. That's very good, Inspector. I like this. Dominant, aggressive, The man in charge. I don't want to accuse anyone without hard evidence, though it may be worth noting Ludovico has motivation in spades. So, as you've deduced, I did not send anyone from Slug after you, nor is it likely they assigned themselves that task. Still, I am sorry for the trouble, Inspector. With that settled, I assume you'll want to know where I was the night of Helen's murder. Let's see. That night, I was... torturing Elliot Nasser for information on missing cargo. That was a messy one. Didn't break until nearly noon the next day. Can you imagine? An excellent question. I had his body dropped off the edge of the land complex. I'm not sure what happened to it from there, scientifically speaking. Maybe it dissolved? Ultimately, though, it doesn't matter. You'd be a fool to believe me, regardless of what I told you. People lie, and I am, incriminatingly, people. Which, as I said, you should not trust. If it helps, however, you might consider pursuing not my means, but my motive. Why in the name of the architect would I kill Halcyon Helen? She was making me a fortune. Why, Inspector, that's terrible. Besides, given how long she was likely to live and continue working, the math doesn't work out. I'd offer to assist you in your work, but I have a mystery of my own to solve, I'm afraid. You may very well want to. This particular trouble strikes me as not unrelated to your investigation. Items are disappearing from Slug's storage and processing warehouse. The thefts began a week before Helen's unfortunate death, and there have been more instances since. Before you ask, I know the difference between cargo going missing and cargo going missing. This is the latter. I'm obliged. Though in the spirit of honesty, I fully intended to strong-arm you into accepting it had you declined. Regardless, this will be fun. You out in the field, chasing down leads, me scheming in my office, preparing to unspeakably mangle the perpetrator. You do recall, Inspector, that I'm not to be trusted? But certainly, whatever you say. You'll want to speak with Ella Tinsley, the warehouse foreman. I've cleared her as a suspect myself, but should she refuse to cooperate, shoot her. No, I'm joking. If she won't cooperate, tell me and I will shoot her. And do feel free to search my office for clues while you're here. Don't hold back on my account. Was there something else you wanted to discuss? The original incident? Well, I made him an offer he should have refused. Intimidation has its role in diplomacy. Still, his choice to work with Sublight was indeed a choice. Our combative relationship stems from paperwork, mundanely enough. Rizzo's contracted Sublight to construct the Eridanos atmospheric complex. Had Lou wanted Rizzo's to retain full control of Eridanos, he shouldn't have skimmed the revised contract I sent him. Lou's an administrator, for law's sake. I thought he would adore all the fine print I added. Still technically visible to the human eye, but only just. You're quite good at this. It was all perfectly legal, too, which irked Lou to no end. My power grab, as Lou called it, planted the seed of hatred. And Lou, obsessed with what should have been, has made sure to water it daily with his bitterness and anger. Do you think power belongs to those who submit the proper paperwork requesting it? Slug's control of Eridanos is a crucial step in my long-term plans for Sublight. The board needs to see irrefutable proof we are a respectable, legitimate business. Our dear administrator is certainly determined to not make that task an easy one. He's grown increasingly desperate to catch Slug with our hand in the proverbial cookie jar as of late, convinced we're involved in less than legal business opportunities. I wish I could wink, but it always looks like I have something caught in my eye. Very well. A few. Helen was strangely curious about the private business operations around Eridanos. She said it was role research, but how much business know-how does one actor truly need for an action picture? I also arranged to have Helen supplied with mag picks, bypass shunts, and other hacking tools. She wanted to buy in bulk. That she bought in bulk? Not particularly. It takes time to learn to use tools like that deftly. I wonder, did she run out of time in the end? That is the question, isn't it, Inspector? Tell me, do you really believe Helen's death was a mere crime of passion? Or one of petty career jealousy? Good. That's good, Inspector. Because whoever did kill Helen is not going to come forward so easily. I just might. Your point, Inspector? Now that is interesting. I suppose we'll see, won't we? Be very careful, Inspector. I'd very much like to see you still around for the grand finale, whenever it comes, whatever shape it takes. One moment, if you please, Inspector. I've answered your questions. I believe it's my turn to ask you a question now. What, or who, made you decide to investigate me? Understandable. A man of my standing would naturally be tied up in all this, whether he wishes to be or not. Now then, did you need anything else?
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This copy of TK contains 142 fewer pages than a standard copy. The missing pages were likely removed to create sufficient space for the hidden listening device inside. Transmission receiver location unclear. Inspector, please consider speaking into the device in order to trace the transmission and reveal the receiver's location. Poor woolly cow impression transmitted. Transmission analysis complete. While the precise location of the receiver could not be pinpointed, it has been narrowed down to a smaller, approximate range. Analysis inconclusive. However, there is a minor accumulation of dust particles present on the book's uppermost surface. The area within a 0.5 meter radius of the book possesses a dust coating comprised of at least twice the number of particles. That is highly likely, Inspector.
What's that you found? No, wait, don't tell me. Let's save it for the big reveal once you've solved the case.
You're the inspector, aren't you? Boss Kincannon said you'd be by about the cargo that's been going missing. Gosh, this is so neat. A real-life inspector. What's that like? Have you solved any mysteries yet? Ever had to shoot a suspect? Right, of course. Just tell me how I can help. That's the weird part. There's no pattern, far as I can tell. The thefts don't make sense. I ask you, who would steal a handful of Spacer's Choice Sabers, so dull they can barely cut mud, but leave the spectrum black? Ugh, who'd be desperate enough to want to steal a Spacer's Choice Saber, full stop? Yeah, probably not. No one's dumb enough to think Spacer's Choice Sabers are worth half a damn. Then there's the most recent theft, 5 boxes of pens and a couple of sodas. I can't decide which one's sadder. Well, I'm no inspector. If there is one, I'm sure you'll find it. Everyone here at Freight Storage and Processing, for a start. Thing is, the cargo is going missing before the shipments even get to the warehouse. Best I can figure, it's probably getting lost in the shipping yard. As for who has access there, Benton Chan, he's the shipping yard manager, he told me it's mainly just the loading automechs that handle cargo. That's Benton's area, but don't bother asking him for help. Last time I asked him to check the automechs, the hull head told me he couldn't help because he was dead. Brain dead, maybe. But no. My point is that if you think the automechs are a lead, you'll have to check on them yourself. Hopefully, you're mechanically Oh, before I forget, I figured you might want to access my terminal, so I had a spare keycard made. It's all yours. Oh no. I forgot to delete all of those incriminating messages I sent about which cargo to steal. Nah. I do have a list of cargo that's gone missing, though, if that helps any.
Transmission endpoint discovered. The receiver in this book matches the transmitter to the listening device found in Cedric's office. It's somewhat grime-covered. Due to the high level of foot traffic in this area, this unit is unable, based on the accumulated mix of sludge and detritus. The receiver has been present since approximately a week before Helen's death. Timeline discrepancy. Inspector, this loading automechanical's programming does not match factory default settings. The standard defensive protocol has been modified to include an additional trigger. For Type K-19 cargo transport automechanicals, defensive protocol is triggered by attempted interference with cargo, or its transportation, or attempted destruction of the unit. Once triggered, defensive protocol targets the perpetrator and applies lethal force until the target has been deceased for a minimum of 3 minutes. Slug automechanical maintenance records indicate this particular unit is frequently reported as out of position or missing for periods of time. There is a directive in place to initiate defensive protocol should an unsanctioned data log installed in this automechanical be removed.
Loading automechanical unit K-14 is fully operational at 99% power. Please designate the cargo to be transported and its destination. How can this automechanical assist you? Access panel is open. Please be sure to close the access panel when you are done. Ejecting data log 17C. Alert. Failsafe protocol triggered. Kill mode initiated. Understood. This unit is programmed to facilitate user queries. Kill mode pause. User termination to follow. The ejected data log contains instructions to move cargo shipment 6-8-7-5 outside the boundaries of the shipping yard. It also contains instructions to move randomized cargo shipments outside the boundaries of the shipping yard at intervals of 1 to 4 days. Apologies. This unit does not have access to cargo inventory lists. Kill mode re-engaged. Have a nice day.
Heads up!
Required for adjacent.
Detected! Customer, all germs and contaminants have been neutralized. Entering quiet mode.
Inspector. To what do I owe the pleasure?
Ooh, I love this part. The big reveal. So tell me, what happened?
What makes you say that? Hacking the Automex. So that was our skimmer's game. But why? Everything that was stolen has seemed random. I certainly see no pattern. A cover-up. I see. The random theft was a smokescreen to hide what the culprit really wanted. I must say, Inspector, you've done excellent work on this case. Then that just leaves how the culprit knew where their true target would be, or indeed, that slug would soon possess it. Okay, that's very impressive. Don't ever touch me again.
Am I right to think what you found in my office earlier was the other half of this listening device? She, Inspector. She could hear everything. The bug belongs to me, Inspector. I lent it to Halcyon Helen to assist her with role research. Yes, I do realize that. Thank you. You'll recall the thefts began in the week leading up to her death. Plenty of time to hack an automechanical and program it to steal. She must have died before she could turn it off. Unbelievable. I helped her. Gave her whatever she needed. I thought we were doing each other a good turn. This is a betrayal, Inspector. I do not take betrayal lightly. Helen should consider herself very lucky indeed that she is already among the dead, and that some other bastard beat me to putting her in the ground. Yes, I suppose we have. There is, however, a slight chronological incongruency to it. I now have a motive to kill Halcyon Helen, but Halcyon Helen is already dead. If I'd known Helen was stealing from me, I may very well have killed her, or had her killed. Alas, I did not. Indeed. Incidentally, feel free to stop by after you clear me as a suspect. I won't even say, I told you so. Though I can't vouch for Eileen. I wish you luck with your investigation, though I doubt you'll need it. You'll find Helen's murderer. I'm confident of that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must find a way to excise my anger that minimally damages my business empire. I expect it will involve shooting quite a lot of guns.
Heads up, boss!
Aha! Always so nice to hear you, Inspector. Next stop, the finest seat in the house.
Inspector? Ms. Leyva earned that title, but not for the reasons you'd expect. The profit business has been profitable for the hotel. Not so much for Ms. Leyva's followers. So, tell me, what did you find? She wants to be arrested. That's not the kind of behavior I expect from a suspect. Perhaps she's carrying a guilty conscience. Does the Prophet strike you as a reasonable candidate for Helen's murderer? I'll bear that in mind. Thank you for the update, Inspector. I'll include everything you've told me in my official report. Closely, I trust. Tell me what you found. Smart. Nothing Cedric says in his defense can be taken in good faith. With that in mind, do you think Cedric was responsible for Helen's death? Fair enough, Inspector. I won't try to influence your judgment any more than I already have. Unfortunately, even I don't have the authority to detain Cedric. His line of work is dangerous, though. There's always a chance for an accident. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I've already lost Dr. Blossom and Constable Keene, but at least Cedric's alive. The universe is a just place.
Aha! Always so nice to hear you, Inspector. I'll get you to your floor on the double. To the lobby we go.
Inspector, not a moment too soon. I've just finished my autopsy report. Ruth Bellamy was killed by plasma damage to the upper vertebrae, the occipital bone, and the cerebellum. If it's any consolation, her death was instantaneous and painless. I've also discovered a poisonous compound in Miss Bellamy's stomach lining ingested during her last meal. Toxic, but not enough to kill her. Spencer Woolrich complained of a stomach ailment around the same time period. I assumed he was being, Spencer. But now I'm not so sure. The thought occurred to me. I tested this hypothesis by vacating the contents of my stomach and testing for the presence of the same toxin. Slightly elevated levels of mercury and an alarming amount of blue food coloring. But other than that, no. I'm certain it wasn't, as you put it, just the hotel food. Oh, how curious. I do believe you're right. I wonder if this has something to do with the autopsy process. She was Halcyon Helen up until the moment I brought her to the operating table. But as soon as I cut her open, I stopped thinking of her as Halcyon Helen. It's almost as if she stopped being an icon and became a human being. I had a feeling you'd understand. I do keep logs of every patient I treat. Despite appearances, I'm not merely a coroner. I'm also the Grand Colonial's only, and therefore greatest, doctor. Will there be...
The Grand Colonial Front Desk warmly welcomes you, Inspector. It's a pleasure to see you again. How may I be of assistance to you, Inspector? Oh, my. Well, that is certainly odd and alarmingly unacceptable. Allow me to check the service records. Ah, yes. Not to worry, Inspector. It was indeed cleaned for you. Except for the evidence, which is all of Helen's stuff. I'd love to, Inspector, but I don't really have the authority. Moreover, the guests were promised exclusivity. If I let you up there, I'll never hear the end of it. That's a good point. If they give me guff, I can just tell them that they're obstructing justice. That has a nice ring to it. Let me just set you up with VIP guest floor access. Done. You can now come and go as you please.
Aha! Oh, if you see Black Hole Birdie, be sure to get an autograph for me. Just joking. I've already got one.
Why'd Helen have to go and die in our hotel? We don't need that kind of notoriety.
Wow, nice work.
Zeke Hannigan, Rizzo's Rangers 16th back. Pleased to meet you. What can I do for you? About half my life. You know I was named third most profitable investment on 2 non-consecutive seasons? Ain't a lot of players who can make that claim. Except for the guys who came in first and second, I guess. I spent the last season injured and almost got sold to the Hephaestus Hammers, but now I'm all convalesced. Ready to lay into some Cleo darlings, you know? Really break some legs. Since it's the off-season, we're helping support the launch of Rizzo Spectrum Brown. Meet the fans, sign tossball cards, that sort of thing. How about you, fella? You after a signature?
Nah, I think I'll pass.
He's just being coy. Anyway, where was I? Just between you and me, Rizzo's ought to cancel the whole event out of respect for Miss Helen. Oh, you must be that inspector people have been talking about. It's a damn shame about Miss Helen. She was always real good to me and the rest of the Rangers. Birdie's taking it pretty hard. Miss Helen was the love of his life. So, what did you want to know? Miss Helen was outspoken. She made her share of enemies on account of her expressing herself. Just between you and me, I heard rumors the Prophet never much cared for Helen's brand of blunt honesty. Oh, Birdie was mad about Helen. He was certifiable. The big galoot loved Helen about as much as he loved the game. Trouble is, Birdie was not blessed with an abundance of temper. Helen kept Birdie steady. If he lost his temper around her, it'd be because something broke between the two of them. What? Law, no. Birdie's got a fierce temper, but there's no way he'd ever have laid a finger on Miss Helen. I'm ashamed to admit it, but me and a couple of the other Rangers spent the night in Constable Keen's cells down at the spaceport. We didn't do anything serious, just a bit of pranks and vandalism. It's what usually happens when we all get to drinking. Guess Constable Keen saw things a bit differently and had us hauled off. No, we lost him somewhere along the way. Or maybe he managed to get away? I can't rightly remember. But he was definitely not sharing a cell with us. That much I know. What can I do for you?
This room is covered in animal dander, human vomit, and feces of both varieties.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Multiple discrepancies detected. First discrepancy. A woolly cow is present in this hotel room. Woolly cows are an import species for the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve and are incapable of affording upper-class accommodations. Second discrepancy. This woolly cow is dangerously inebriated with Rizzo Spectrum vodka. Alcohol sanguinization ratio exceeds recommended maximum. An accurate observation, Inspector. This woolly cow is suffering from symptoms consistent with a hangover. A brief survey of this area reveals that the most recent occupants were athletes belonging to the Rizzo's Rangers Tossball Club. Insufficient data. A brief survey of localized property damage, divided by the area of this room, yields the following estimate. This unit was likely occupied by every member of the Rizzo's Rangers. -1.
Hotel rooms don't feel like home until you mess them up some. This one's real cozy. What do you want to know? What about her? What do you want?
Error. Does not compute.
Initiating banter protocol. Now simulating familiar and welcoming demeanor. Well, if it isn't sanitation and maintenance unit, are you operating at peak efficiency?
Initiating digital handshake. Greetings, Burbage-3001. By design, this SAM unit must simulate excitement when interfacing with customers. and/or potential customers, and/or associates of customers and/or potential customers.
Now generating condescending dismissal. Well done, maintenance unit. This unit will have its people contact your people. Greetings, theater aficionado and/or dumbstruck fan. You are standing in the vicinity of Burbage 3001, the latest and therefore greatest automechanical actor ever designed. Burbage 3001's programming is frequently upgraded to adhere to board-certified standards. The most recent upgrade was performed by Spencer Woolrich. Banter protocol exhausted, reverting to default behavior, grieving and despair. Oh, Halcyon Helen, may your atoms be commended to the Aether. Burbage 3001 was designed to disrupt Halcyon Helen's monopoly over the Aetherwave serial market. This unit's programming is based on Helen's most famous roles. Burbage 3001. Anything Halcyon Helen can do, this unit can do slightly worse. Now running shock and dismay protocol. What's this? Helen's death was a murder? How horrifying. Bring that killer to justice, designated authority figure. This unit has not yet completed its grief cycles. Randomizing despair tables. Oh, Helen, is there no justice in the world?
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Discrepancy detected. This bottle, recently discarded, contains residue from foreign substances. Chemical analysis complete. This unit has detected the following substances: oil, terrare, blood, terrare, unidentifiable biological fluids, terrare. Yes, Inspector. Logical analysis indicates these substances were not present in the bottle's original contents. These substances cause extreme gastrointestinal distress in humans. Large doses can be fatal. This bottle contained Rizzo's Spectrum vodka. The presence of terrare biological fluids may have significantly improved its flavor.
About time you arrived. I see you haven't dressed the way I asked you to, but I suppose that was expecting too much of a non-industry lout. Expect a complaint to management. Now, unless you'd like to waste more of my time, I suggest we begin rehearsing. Ready? You've fallen right into my trap, Captain. Oh, don't bother to fight back. You cannot hope to stop me from installing philosophism as the system's reigning ideology. How does the scenery taste? Good, I trust? Wait a moment. You're not wearing a bellhop's ID, which must mean you're not Owen's understudy. That man can't even be relied upon to find his own replacement. Oh, no, this is curious indeed. Who are you, and how did you get in here? And yet you found your way to my humble hotel room. Why do I feel there's more of a reason for you to be here than you let on? I think I know, you cheeky little sprat. Now, what shall I sign first? Your weapon? Your wallet? Or perhaps something a little more personal? Undergarment signatures have been popular of late, or so I've heard. Do you mean to say you're not a fan? Well, then how did you get in here? The only staffer cleared for guest room entry is the inspector for Bellamy's murder. Oh. Oh! Hello. Terribly sorry, Inspector. I didn't realize it was you. Understand that I am beyond willing to comply with your search for the fiend that did Bellamy in. You know, now that I look at you, you're the perfect reflection of me, back when I starred in the Marauder's Bane. The absolute picture of justice. Ask me anything at all. I might even give you a straight answer. Oh, have you now? Please do go on. Don't leave me in suspense. I did indeed. With Halcyon Helen parading her fame about, I was left without an acting partner. Burbage is no exception. His acting protocols were nothing short of a joke. So I decided to make some modifications, installing him with some of my old serial quotes as, I think, improved his range. The way he bungled about with that weapon of his hardly befitted a dissident, so I modified it as well. He's much quicker on the draw now, though he's still a machine. I'm quite used to being breathlessly watched. Indeed. The agonizing bowel pain was most undignifying. While I've certainly had no shortage of inadequate hotel meals, this was most explicitly pronounced. I suspect poison. And who would be most likely to poison me but Chef Anwar? Oh, we've clashed almost non-stop about his slop preparation. He must have tainted my meal in retaliation. None that I can think of. I treat all hotel staff equally, and with the minimum level of respect that they deserve. Is that a jibe? Could you imagine the tabloid headlines? Spencer Woolrich, Aetherwave star, spotted in gastronomic distress. Oh, unseemly hardly describes the half of it. Very well, then. Certainly. But one quick question before we begin, if I may. How was it that Bellamy met her end? Why, I'm merely worried for my own sake. Perhaps whoever came after her could come after me next. But if you don't want to tell me, I understand. Whatever happened, I Hope poor Bellamy didn't suffer. I was meditating, of course. That's how I get into character. Respectfully, Inspector, it is rather counterproductive to commune with others while meditating. All actors have their methods, and this has been mine ever since I met that wonderful prophet of profitability. She taught me it for my role in The Unemployed Cometh. I had to lie face down on artificially heated pavement. The director wanted our suffering to be convincing. Needless to say, being able to leave my body helped to mitigate the pain, both during the 8-hour shoot and with the second-degree burns afterwards. I owe that woman much. Yeah, actually, only since I've been at the Colonial. The Unemployed Cometh was shot on site. That makes it, a few weeks. I cannot recommend her services enough. If you haven't been to see her yet, you really should. I'll answer whatever you wish. Bellamy has been my co-star throughout the autumn of my career. I should like to think I knew her. In fact, I cannot name a single role in the last 10 years that did not involve her in some way, unless you count the uncredited silent shopkeep on Melissa's Meteoroids. I'll ask you this. If you'd been the star of cinema for years, then suddenly found yourself scrounging for bit parts while a younger person stole the limelight, how would you feel? In short, the two of us weren't close. But that's not to say my dislike of her was so extreme that I tried to do anything drastic. Resenting Bellamy is one thing, but killing her is another completely. It's also beneath me. Oh, come now, Inspector. What do you take me for? I'm an old man. I neither have the time nor the willpower to kill people for fun. Besides, I have my reputation to think of. I suppose that is enough on that grim subject. Oh, must I relive that ghastly event again? My intestines still have yet to fully recover. But I suppose we may discuss it further. How alarming! Whoever targeted her was certainly targeting me. I can only thank my ironclad constitution. Oh, that's very good to know. Perhaps the poisoner simply meant to incapacitate us both, disrupt the product launch. I couldn't say, Inspector. I'm merely an actor. Very well, then. I'm sure you're joking. Perhaps I'm not in my prime, but you've no doubt seen the name Spencer Woolrich on many a serial advertisement throughout your travels. That can't be. You must just not remember. Or perhaps you only recognize my characters, not my name. Did you ever see me in The Masked Marketeer? The Busker of Byzantium? What about episodes 13 and 190 of Princess of Hephaestus? And who could forget From Halcyon with Love? I was great in that movie. Even if I was starring beside a 2-ton bucket of bolts and a woman with no talent. Yes, that would be Burbage 3001. I'm sure you've heard the clomping around. It's over in the next room. It's hard for me to believe that a mechanical actor isn't some kind of joke played on us all by Odeon's director.
Aha! Always so nice to hear you, Inspector. To the lobby, we...
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Analysis of this stovetop reveals an alarming degree of grease buildup, approximating proximity to volatile gases and chemicals. Chances of an explosive combustion upon next use currently at 92.9%. Most corporations have regular cleaning procedures to prevent damage to company property. Slug, already unlike most corporations in a variety of ways, does not. That or the employees tasked with inspecting are shirking their duties. For shame. Searching Slug work logs. No work log found. Creating conjecture. Slug has likely not fixed this issue due to a lack of responsibility on the part of their employees.
Yes? Are you here for the double rack of smoked sprat? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you'll have to wait. Oh, don't give me that look. Let me see if I can pencil you in for later. Actually, what am I saying? I can't do that. I'm booked for the next month. You'll have to make a reservation. You're the inspector? Here? Why? I mean, you may ask me whatever you want. I have nothing to hide. Of course I did. I would never allow anyone else to touch the meals of so important a guest. Oh my law, this is the end, isn't it? My mother always warned me that the culinary world was too dangerous, but I didn't heed her warnings. Okay, I wasn't the one who did it, but I might have been mistaken when I said I was constantly watching Helen's food. Spencer Woolrich and Bellhop Owens were underfoot in the kitchen as I was preparing Helen's meal. Either one of them could have tampered with the food when I was fetching ingredients. Yes, but not specifically. Owens often procures exotic ingredients from the creatures at the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve. Our guests can be rather particular. Let's not talk about the incident with the Raptidon pheromone glands. It's always hard to say when Owens might be back. If I were you, I'd make a trek to the reserve myself. Otherwise, who knows how long you'll have to wait. Mr. Woolrich often finds the hotel's meals wanting. He seems to enjoy complaining in person. While I could appreciate someone with a discerning palate for once, I believe that Mr. Woolrich simply enjoys the attention he gets from us. Though don't tell him I said as much. If you wish to speak with him, Mr. Woolrich can most likely be found in his suite on the VIP guest floor. He's usually there if he's not poking around here. I understand your reluctance, but... Oh, I just remembered. The kitchen security camera. It'll prove I'm telling the truth about everything. Constable Keene has access to the security footage in her office at the spaceport. If you visit her, you can figure out what truly happened with Helen's meal. Well, it's a breach of professionalism, of course. Why else would I worry about it? What? Truly? That's an alarming business oversight. Instead of volatile chemicals, the corporations should put barbiturates in everything. Everyone likes barbiturates. But I don't believe that was a risk with Helen's meal. I was, up to something else. I may have taken some time to engage in a teensy bit of recreational drinking, and consequently, I may have been somewhat less than coherent after preparing Helen's meal. Thank you for your understanding, Inspector. I'm sure you'll find the true culprit before long.
Don't slip.
Timeline discrepancy. An aberration in the expected timeline for this organic being has occurred. Behold, the body of Maria Keene, formerly the constable of the Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. No signs of life detected. Maria Keene is survived by no known relatives. Excellent observation, Inspector. Multiple wounds located in the frontal bone and between the clavicles suggest she was facing away from her attacker. Furthermore, the location and circumference of exit wounds suggest a firearm with unconventional ammunition. These casings are too minuscule for conventional small-caliber firearms. Each casing resembles a lancing needle used for medical and surgical purposes. High concentration of potassium chloride detected. Trace amounts of neurotoxin detected. These substances show the highest concentration near the entry and exit wounds. Cardiac arrest, rather than physical trauma, is the most likely cause of death. Your memo has been noted. This unit has been programmed to offer encouragement during moments of emotional strain. Banter protocol activated. We'll find the sprat bastards responsible, Inspector.
Excuse me, can you walk a little quieter? Feels like my brain is trying to escape through my eye sockets.
I'm a criminal, get it? They don't let me talk to law-abiding sorts.
Attention! Infestation encroaching! Job classification. Flawlessly finished!
Jackass is incoming!
Alert! Alert!
The brochure never mentioned anything.
Aha! Always so nice to... If you see black...
You're here. I hope you have the photon proto-distributor, or we're never leaving this damn facility. That was from the Twin Spies. I played a sentient mechanical. Ask me anything at all. I might even give you a straight answer. Oh, have you now? Please do go on. Don't leave me in suspense. Tampering? No, no, no. I just happened to be passing through the kitchen and saw a dish that looked good. If being hungry is a crime, you better indict 3/4 of Halcyon. What? That damned bellhop promised discretion. Well, if you must know, it's, an appetite suppressant. How do you think I keep my form so lithe? Terror ray glands keep me from feeling hunger pangs. Oh, well, there's... Maybe I just wanted to see what was in it. Oh, law. What a pathetic defense. As it so happens, I may not have had the terror ray gland acquired for personal use. I may have placed it in Bellamy's meal. But before you indict me, please, just listen. I wasn't trying to kill her. I will. Terror ray glands aren't supposed to be lethally poisonous. They're supposed to cause extreme lethargy, as if you'd inhaled several quarts of Spectrum vodka. She would have had to eat 6 or 7 of the glands to die, and even then it would be an extended, arduous process. I was just getting to that. I only wanted her to be incapacitated during the Brown unveiling. With her out of commission, the next available celebrity, myself, would get to host the unveiling. Please think twice about telling the administrator of my misdeeds. If he learns the truth, what's left of my career will be left in shambles. What will happen when all of the great actors are gone, Inspector? Who will replace us? No one. That's who. There will be nothing on the aether waves but serials starring mechanicals. I hope it's worth it.
Aha! Always so nice. Next stop, the finest seat in the house.
Inspector, I've just received word that Constable Keene is dead. Please tell me it isn't true. Halcyon Helen, Leora Blossom, Maria Keene. There's a murderer on the loose, Inspector. You must stop them. I don't have Maria to count on anymore, so I'm counting on you. The Needler was among Helen's belongings. Whoever stole it must have been able to slip in and out of the hotel. Maria was my sole representative in Cedric's territory. The entire hotel staff is on his payroll. Any one of them could have killed her on his behalf. Why were you going through Maria's terminal? Any upgrades to valuable automechanicals must be authorized by me. I'm the administrator. And you need to focus on the hunt for Helen's killer. Was there anything else? Excellent. I trust you have a name for our poisoner. Oh, I am disappointed. I'd always believed Mr. Woolrich a man of high character. It pains me to order the arrest and detention of someone I admired. I'd like you to continue investigating Helen's murder. You've found the poisoner, but her killer remains at large. Inspector, I've been waiting for this. Tell me, Inspector, who killed Halcyon Helen? I beg your pardon. You think I killed Halcyon Helen? That's absurd. What do you think this is? Some two-bit crime drama where the villain gives himself away in the opening act? I expect you to deliver the name of Helen's killer. I expect you to deliver results, Inspector. And if you can't withstand the pressure, then I expect you to resign. We're done. Your services are no longer necessary. You what? Now wait just a minute. That data was acquired illegally. All right, fine. Let's do this your way. You say I programmed Burbage to fire on Helen. I admit, I have been encouraging you to resolve this case as quickly as possible. Helen's death is a stain on our reputation. I don't want it becoming permanent. It wasn't enough that she smile for our cameras and kiss a bottle of Spectrum Brown. No, she had to know what was in it, how it was made, why it was made. Of course I lost my nerve. Helen was going to ruin everything. I don't see any point in continuing this charade. Yes, I killed Halcyon Helen. I confronted her in the grand ballroom. One blow to the back of the head. Burbage finished her off. No cameras, no witnesses, no spoiled actors threatening to undermine the future of Halcyon. Spectrum Brown is going to change the face of Halcyon. I'm going to make this colony smile again. Wait, don't move a muscle. Someone's just tripped my alarm. And my security defenses. And killed my patrols. The distillery is under attack. Someone's after me, Inspector. I need you over here right now. I appreciate your skepticism, Inspector, but this is not a trap. There's a security breach at my distillery. Damn it, someone's interfering with my transmission. Can you read the...
Whoever the real killer is, I got a feeling they're going after Mr. Ludovico. We need to catch up to him. Fast.
I guess, if we have to. Getting kind of tired of kicking my heels up in the penthouse all day.
Alright. I got nothing going on. We should definitely go. As for helping him, maybe we take the wait-and-see approach?
From the depths of Terra 2 to the heights of Eridanos, there's no mess that your SAM unit can't unstick, unclog, or unsully.
Think of this as an opportunity to teach Mr. Ludovico the importance of compassion.
Aha! Oh, to the lobby we go!
Caution! Infestation encroaching! Cycle. Starting volume now. Caution!
Catch up to me sooner or later, Inspector. I was just hoping you'd find me standing over the administrator's corpse.
What in law's name? Halcyon Helen, how are you still alive?
Oh, is that Ludovico I hear? Perfect. I'm so glad he's still in the building. Would you mind letting him know I'm about to blow his whole operation to flinders? Brace yourself, Inspector. You're about to learn the biggest secret in the Vaporwave industry. Halcyon Helen was never one person. I shared this role with my twin sister, Belinda.
Are you serious? Halcyon Helen's got a twin sister? I mean, yeah, it's obvious. You know, if you think about it.
Malfunction. Comprehension module is imminent for overload.
Belinda and I were the best kept secret in the business. Nobody could tell us apart. And certainly not a peevish, petty, miserable little worm like Quentin Ludovico. So when I discovered the truth, when I realized what Ludovico was about to unleash on this colony, Belinda paid the price.
My plan to save Halcyon. I'm not a murderer, Inspector. I acted in defense. I had to defend Halcyon's future.
Tell the truth, Ludovico. There's nothing safe about Spectrum Brown. You want to infest this entire colony with those disgusting parasites.
They're not parasites. These creatures are symbiotic life forms. They belong to the highest order of life form, capable of living in perfect harmony with humanity. The symbiotes evoke a feeling of joy in their host, a bliss so pure, so profound as to render the most exquisite recreational substance obsolete. Oh, don't you see, Inspector? I want to bring joy back to Halcyon. I want this colony to smile again. A host only turns violent if they're carrying too many symbiotes, or if they see you as a threat. In its natural state, the relationship between symbiote and host is perfectly harmless. Listen to me. I never wanted to take a life, but I had no choice. I couldn't let anyone destroy this colony's only chance at real happiness. But what about Helen? What about all the innocent people she's killed?
No one I crossed off was innocent. Ludovico murdered my sister, Inspector. He killed Belinda with his own hands. Leora Blossom, Maria Keene, that flackwit of a mascot, they were standing between me and Ludovico, so I did what I had to do. I went through them. She was on Ludovico's side. When she realized I was alive, she refused to stay silent. I gave Maria a chance. I told her about Belinda. I asked for her help, but she turned me down. She was honor-bound to report me to Ludovico. Maria had a duty to her company, and I had a duty to Belinda. We both did what we had to do. But in the end, I was the faster shot. Have you met Dr. Blossom? She was practically a reptile. A cold-blooded psychopath who toyed with human lives in the name of scientific advancement. Leora Blossom wasn't a person. She was a weapon in Ludovico's arsenal. You call it murder? I call it disarming my enemy. The mascot was a spy working for Ludovico. He was ordered to keep an eye on Belinda and I, and report back to his master.
You're being paranoid. I barely knew the fellow.
Don't try to deny it. Anywhere Belinda and I went, that mascot was there, just watching us with those cold, dead eyes. That doesn't surprise me at all. He was on Ludovico's side, just like the others. You know what you need to do. Help me avenge Belinda. Help me put a stop to this.
Don't listen to her. Listen to me. Throw in with Helen and you destroy Halcyon's only chance at real happiness. Think of the future, Inspector. A lifetime of bliss and joy for every colonist in Halcyon. We can make that happen.
Sounds good to me. Let's get out of here.
We don't have a lot of time. We need to get out of here.
Not so fast. I've sealed the bulkhead doors. You're staying right where you are. I'm sorry to do this to you, Inspector. Truly I am. If it's any consolation, Helen has brought some remarkably powerful explosives. Your death should be instantaneous. Goodbye, Inspector. Helen, we won't meet again.
Damn it. He sealed this in, but I think I know another way out. Follow me and stay close. Head through that door. There's another way out. But he's still at large. He's probably gone into hiding, so we're going to root him out. This entire complex has been exposed to those parasites. Law only knows how many they've infected. Most of them won't even know they're carrying a parasite inside of them. If they're showing symptoms, it's probably already too late. Boundless energy, insufferable joy, an almost saccharine attitude of optimism. Then just like that, parasites bursting out of their bodies. Fat and wriggling with vital energy. You're a step ahead of me, Inspector. An airborne pesticide of some kind. I think you may be onto something. Let's meet back at your penthouse. We'll ready our next move. See you soon, Inspector.
It's strange. When you walk through that door, I half expected to see Belinda. Belinda and I practically shared a life. Losing her feels like losing a limb. conspicuous by her absence. I appreciate the sympathy, Inspector. Thank you. I'll appreciate your help even more. We shut down Ludovico's distillation plant, but he's not gonna sit idly by. If he can't use Spectrum Brown to infect the colony, he'll resort to some kind of backup plan. I stole this formula from Dr. Blossom, a failed prototype of Spectrum Brown. Look at this. The prototype had the opposite effect, and actually made you immune to the parasites. I obviously can't be seen gallivanting across Eridanos. And after that display back at the station, it's obvious to me that you know what you're doing. We're going to need 2 ingredients. A sample of essence of sprat, and 1 intact pod of parasite eggs. Cedric's warehouse in the Piraeus spaceport almost certainly carries a batch of sprat essence. As for the pod, I'd check the Wilderness Reserve if I were you. You're a scientist and an inspector? You really are full of surprises. I borrowed a centrifuge from the research lab. Used the ingredients to synthesize an antiparasitic. I'm glad I could count on your expertise. Once you're finished, head to the pilot house. We'll hijack the control system and disperse the cure into the atmosphere. That should kill off most of the parasites. Are you worried I'm gonna shoot you in the back? You're right. You do deserve the spotlight. Here. You take good care of my Needler, and it'll take good care of you. There is one other thing. While you're at Piraeus Spaceport, have a word with Cedric Kincannon. I know Cedric. There's nothing he wants more than a chance to eliminate Ludovico. We could use him on our side. Best of luck, Inspector. I'm counting on you.
Entering quiet mode. Invasive contaminants.
Oh, get it off! Get it off! You smile! Not gonna let no one bring me down! I just wanna be your...
Sam's on the ground. Sam, putting trash in its rightful place for more than 70 years.
I've been waiting for this!
Scoured with prejudice.
Law, how'd you get in here alive? You are alive, yeah? And not one of them? No, you look clean. Good. You'd better get inside with the others.
Inspector, you made it. Well done. I'm afraid you may find the spaceport is, at the moment, less hospitable than usual. My apologies. Regardless, you must have some purpose here. Do tell. Whew, whatever it was, it happened quickly. Like a wave sweeping across the shore. We were overrun. Survivors are still trickling in. We've put out a call to slug agents not at the docks to keep their distance. With the warehouse's stores, Slug could hold out here for weeks, easily. Possibly months. With Helen? You don't say. I'd forgotten how disarming your sense of humor is, Inspector. This anti-parasitic, it would restore my people to their original, non-infected selves? Safely? Coincidentally enough, we do. Ella Tinsley, the warehouse foreman, you remember her? There's a package on the desk in her office. You'll find the essence of Sprat you need in there. You're quite welcome. Now then, is there anything else I can do for you while you... Oh, my. You mean Lou was up to no good this whole time? Oh, absolutely. You can expect Slug support. I'll arrange for my agents to meet you at the distillation station. I'll do that. I think one of our checkpoint guards is going through a divorce. As thrilled as I am to assist you in taking down Lou, we have barricaded ourselves in here for a reason. I imagine you have a plan for getting out of the spaceport safely? Are you really? Inspector, you are a marvel. Excellent work. I'll admit, I'm awfully fond of my agents. To see them restored will be a great weight off my soul. Thank you.
Rats are the #1 spreader of Viles disease, and as such are some of the most reviled. Problem. Customer, your vitals are in disarray. Congratulations, customer! Your SAM unit is performing at peak capacity.
Aha! Next stop. Aha! Always so nice to hear you, Inspector. I'll get you to your floor on the double.
Unit is clean, and ready to still burn. Unit performance evaluation is sterling.
Greeting protocols suspended. All non-essential protocols suspended. Phaeton is standing by for larval compound dispersal. Affirmative. Dispersing. Incoming message from Rizzo's distillation station.
What have you done? What in law's name have you done? You hijacked our atmosphere. Are you trying to kill us all? No. You're trying to kill my symbiotes. I'm not going to let you destroy everything I've built. I can still fix this. I can undo the damage you've done.
End of transmission.
Will leave a stain. Job classification. Flawlessly finished.
Looks like we're through this side. I just want to make you smile.
Required.
second. They don't brew anything down here? It's just store. What a mess. This whole place is rotting from the inside.
Alert!
I just wanted to make you smile! Let me share my joy! I just want to be your friend!
Everyone all right? Down!
You may proceed. Putting Claire in its rightful place for more than 70 years.
How'd you do that?
This filtration system is infested with bacterium and parasites.
I'm gonna let no one put me down! Come on! I just want to be your friend! I just want to be your president! Turn that back! No!
Did we do that again?
Clean cycle step 2, industrial stain.
Get off! Get off!
Now equipped with vermin extermination nozzle.
Yes, I know you're hungry. Be patient. I'll feed you soon enough. Just a guest. The one I told you about. The inspector. Welcome. We were just talking about you. 'Cause, 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 You and I are standing in the presence of royalty. Don't worry, you'll meet her soon enough. I know what you've done. Hijacked Phaeton, contaminated the air we breathe with your poison. You think you've saved this colony? All you've done is robbed Halcyon of its last chance at real happiness. And you've angered my queen.
SAM units are programmed to never disagree with the customer.
I got tired of listening to this jackass when he called us on the ship.
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to feed you to the Queen, and then I'm going to find a way to repair the damage you've done. Don't be afraid. She can smell fear, and it makes her absolutely ravenous. Your Highness! Dinner is served. Wait, no, not me. Damn! Merciful law! Stop!
Heads up!
And maintenance job fulfilled.
This machinery cluster is now active. Please exercise caution.
You made it! I guess happy customers really are repeat customers. Here, I had something I wanted to give you. This is a golden ticket, good for one free tour of the Purpleberry Orchards. This is my way of showing you that I appreciate you just for being alive. Enjoy the golden ticket.
Looks like we're doing this.
The area has been sanitized.
Wow, nice work.
One order of frickin' fan coming up.
Hey, boss! Watch this!
Congratulations, customer. Your SAM unit is performing.
There's only room for one slug boss on Eridanos. We'll be awfully busy with the administrator gone. Lots to do.
I must have dreamed up 100 different ways to kill Ludovico. I'll be honest, eaten alive by the Queen of the Brain Slugs wasn't on that list. I imagined this moment would be a little more cathartic. But Belinda's still gone, and I don't feel all that different. I can't go back to the way things were. I can't return to my old life because it was never my life to begin with. It was shared. Never mind, you don't need to listen to this. Thank you again for your help, Captain. I never would have made it this far without you. I must have dreamed up 100 different ways to kill. I'll be honest, eaten alive by the Queen of the Brain Slugs wasn't... I imagined this moment would... I can't go... Never mind.
Welcome back, Captain. Or shall I call you Inspector? What can I do for you? During your absence, I passed the time by simulating a number of hypothetical conclusions to this case. Unfortunately, my understanding of the facts is limited, and my appraisal of the individuals involved is not flattering. Therefore, my conclusions are inaccurate. I have been awaiting closure for the details of your investigation. However, I have also been keenly aware of your absence. I have a growing library of information about you. Attitude, behavioral tendencies, dietary habits, sleep patterns. Cataloging human behavior is essential to maintaining my simulation protocols. Will you satisfy my curiosity subroutines and tell me who killed Halcyon Helen? My simulations have yielded several possible causes of death. Halcyon Helen may have been killed by one or all of the following: asphyxiating on Rizzo's Spectrum Brown, grappling with a primal while inebriated, killed by an overzealous fan, death by automechanical, or profound loneliness. How close were my estimations? Please, do so. Administrator Ludovico killed Halcyon Helen? I have been programmed to simulate contempt and mild surprise. Mr. Ludovico had the audacity to hire you to solve a murder he committed? I am contemptuous and mildly surprised. This information is valuable to me. I will update my behavior simulation protocol accordingly. Thank you, Captain. How can I be of assistance? I request you do not wake me if I am sleeping upon your return. I am pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for trespassing is execution.
The captain did right by us once.
that noise?
The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I breathe. Push on, Barnett.
Egg required.
That's the last of him!
Your vitals are in disarray.
The captain did right by us once. Now
What's that, man?
board will never own groundbreakers. Not while I breathe. Push on, Margot!
Wrong tool for the job.
Stay down.
Unexpected noise identified. Searching for unauthorized person.
Resistance is gaining effort.
Somebody clean up this mess. What's that? Open fire!
Area Sensitization Assessment. The Labyrinth on Tartarus. Task classification. Easy peasy.
They say nobody's ever broken out of the labyrinth. Didn't say nothing about breaking in, though. Lead the way, boss. I got your back. Everyone all right?
Wrong tool for the job.
No! Boss!
Captain did right by us. The board will never own groundbreakers. Not while I breathe. Push on, Margot!
Lead cycle back to industrial stage.
Can we do that again?
labyrinth on Tartarus. Task classification, easy peasy.
They say nobody's ever broken out of the labyrinth. Didn't say nothing about breaking in, though. Lead the way, boss. I got your back.
Preparing body bag for use. Take out the trash.
NYP?
Preparing to neutralize and sanitize. Toxin neutralized. Clean, mean, and ready to kill germs. Area has been sanitized.
Let's go, troops. Stellar base counting on us.
Showered with prejudice.
Out of my way! That's one down!
the competition.
Everyone all right?
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. And I see you've brought the kid along. Babysitters may be expensive, but they're worth it, you know.
Yeah, keep talking, pal. I'll just keep thinking of a place to bury your body.
And... oh, I had heard you were dragging around a repurposed janitorial mechanical. My staff jokes that it's because you're a walking pile of refuse.
Interactive database updated. The unique organic substance labeled Chairman has been classified as filth, imminent for incineration.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens. My word! You've correctly identified the most recognizable man in the colony. Remarkable. It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thankfully, he's our insane person now. A proper company man. I've got work to do.
right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So get in there and fight!
Sam cleans it up. News, customer. All germs and contaminants have been neutralized.
All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So get in there and fight!
Congratulations, customer. Your SAM unit is performing at peak capacity. Difficult job ahead? Consider equipping a pack of SAM's special solvent stain-out remover. It's ruthless on residual blood spots.
All right, boss. Ready. Let's do this.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is typical. Running your mouth in the middle of a crisis. It's almost as if you delight in chaos. My reports described you as one of Halcyon's sharpest minds. I can't imagine why you'd do something so irrational. I should have dealt with you a long time ago. You were always too dangerous to leave unchecked. Leaving you alive was my greatest mistake, but it is a mistake I intend to correct. I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the program. I can repair the damage you've done. I can set things right. Well, that's mostly correct. You're not leaving here at all. I wish you'd simply cooperated with me. You're the finest marksman in Halcyon. I had a feeling you'd say that. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you on sight and rinse your remains down a drain. And don't worry. I will inform Dr. Wells that you died heroically, or something.
Wow, how'd you do that?
Sector control activated.
Out of my way!
Mega message. Required.
Oh, that's the last of him!
Why won't you just...
Get me out of here!
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough. I'm all right, thanks to you. Akande wanted my cooperation. I'm quite sure she would have beaten it out of me if you hadn't arrived. You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
Hold on, Doc. Are you telling me the Earth went dark 3 years ago, and the board's just been covering this up?
They've been incredibly effective at concealing the truth. Right now, the only people in the colony who know are standing in this room. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed, including me. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds, and then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us? When I revived you, I thought you were going to help me save this colony. I was wrong. I had our roles reversed, you see. You're the one who's going to save us all. I'm just the one who set you on your path. You're the best thing to ever happen to Halcyon. If you want to take it upon yourself to lead this colony, you have my support. We're not a colony any longer, are we? Our last connection to Earth has been severed, and so we have been set free. Our future is uncertain, and no one knows what tomorrow holds. Exciting, isn't it?
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Between MSI's worker-centric policies and the iconoclast's manpower, Sanjar and Zora were able to rally many of the Terra 2 townships to their cause. MSI's workforce swelled, and the iconoclasts enjoyed a significant surge in their ranks. The board was too distracted by infighting and internal politics to stop MSI from becoming a powerful corporation and a refuge for townships that might have fallen through the cracks. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if her replacement could keep the Sublight family together. Adelaide McDevitt replaced Reed Thompson as the leader of Edgewater. She and her followers transformed Edgewater in their image. Anyone loyal to Reed was pressured into leaving town, and those who stayed behind adapted to her way of life. Adelaide transformed the old cannery into a new garden. The nearby Edgewater Cemetery provided a convenient source of fertilizer. As for Reed Thompson, it was said that he lasted exactly 2 days outside the walls of Edgewater. Years later, a marauder was found in possession of his hat. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Even the Gorgon asteroid, though a distant enigma to most of Halcyon, felt the aftershocks of your actions. The destroyed Adrenatime synthesizer became a symbol of the board's cruelty and a rallying point for Wells and his scientists as they sought to build a more humane, ethical Halcyon. They cleared the dead from Gorgon's laboratories and repurposed them to aid in the crucial work of solving the colony's nutrition crisis. Gorgon, which had once sown death and destruction across Halcyon, became a source of hope and renewal. The Gorgon Project's final explosive end was bittersweet for Olivia Ambrose. She wandered the colony's fringes alone, searching for others like her who despised the board and meant to destroy them. In time, she found Phineas Wells and his cadre of scientists, and she joined them in their efforts to save Halcyon. For a while, she even knew an uneasy peace. But for all that, Olivia found purpose in Wells' project. She was always haunted by the memory of her daughter, Minnie, who hadn't lived to see the better world they were building. She never did forgive herself for the horror her work had wrought on Halcyon, but she remembered fondly the daring captain who'd put an end to it at last. In spite of everything, the Gorgon asteroid remained a sobering reminder of the potential for progress and disaster in humanity's most ambitious efforts. The Rizzo's company in Halcyon dissolved after the collapse of the board. Needless to say, the launch of Spectrum Brown was indefinitely delayed. A stockpile of Spectrum Brown remains buried deep beneath the ruins of the old distillery, abandoned to time and attrition. With the dissolution of the board, Ruth Bellamy found herself without the two constants in her life, Byzantine culture and her sister Belinda. In the face of this new reality, she struggled to find a direction for her life. The colony had moved on from Halcyon Helen and would require new heroes in the years to come. And so Ruth Bellamy decided it was time to exit stage left. She quietly disappeared from public view. The dissolution of the board did not mean the dissolution of the ambitions of Cedric Kincannon, the charismatic leader of Sublight Underground. Cedric offered Slug's transportation services to the newly thawed colonists and set to work ferrying resources and food wherever they were most needed. For better or worse, Slug headgear became fashionable in the following year. As the board began to disintegrate, Spencer Woolrich found himself at a crossroads. Cling to what little stardom remained to him, or help usher Halcyon into its new future. To the surprise of many, perhaps himself most of all, Spencer chose the latter option. Having learned a variety of different skills in the many different roles played throughout his lengthy career, Spencer founded a radio serial dedicated to staying alive despite the odds. His subjects included how to survive violent encounters with only grazing wounds, dispense pithy one-liners for tense scenarios, and, of course, how to look good doing both. After a brief attempt at dating Helen as one person rather than two, which both Bertie and Helen found too strange, Bertie struck out on his own to try his hand at raising woolly cows. Many of his former Rangers teammates soon followed, accompanied by the woolly cow the team had originally plied with alcohol. The dairy farm thrived under Bertie's leadership and care. The Dairy Rangers privately believed that the woolly cows softened Bertie's temper considerably, although the only one brave enough to say this to his face was promptly headbutted. Due to the board's dissolution, many of the Prophet's old customers no longer found quite the same value in productivity seminars that they once had. With her business drying up, the Prophet chose to take her followers down a new path. Months later, salvagers on Eridanos found clues leading them to a seemingly abandoned bunker out in the wilderness. Inside, they discovered horribly mangled corpses, sacrificed to a blood-scrawled portrait of a sprat-headed deity. The Prophet was not among the bodies. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker, and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name, and in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He eventually came to terms with his own past and was able to forgive the mistakes of his younger self by devoting his remaining years to serving the colony. In the end, Dr. Wells was able to save every scientist and engineer aboard the Hope. Over the next decade, nearly all of the Hope's remaining colonists were successfully revived. Halcyon saw a period of rapid technological and scientific advancement. Breakthroughs in dietary supplements saved the colony from starvation. Geoengineering projects and social reforms began to change the structure and character of the colony. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Today, Halcyon has stabilized. The people of the colony work hard to adapt to their new circumstances. Nearby colonies send aid and supplies. Life will never be easy in Halcyon, but for the first time in its history, there exists a sense of real, genuine hope about the future. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.